Hello, this is a response to Quentin's 100 subscribers contest regarding musical landscapes. Quentin, congratulations. I, for one, really enjoy, I catch up with your videos like I do many people. It's like I don't keep up, I catch up. But your accent is like music to me. So I quite enjoy listening to you speak. I understand, as you say, that your thoughts are clearer than what your mouth puts out, but there's so much intent in your voice and your expression. Um, you're obviously a fantastic person, Quentin, and it's just congratulations here. Excuse me, I'm getting okay. Congratulations, and it's no wonder that your subscribership is growing because, again, like others in the community, your true natural passion and love for the music that you love, it comes through, and that's infectious to those of us that share it. Even when we talk about music that we don't necessarily listen to alike, but I can feel what you're saying about it. And we do actually share quite a bit of music in common that we like. Um, this is a great question or thing to talk about regarding what kind of landscapes, feelings, thoughts do music create. Um, this is so perfect for what music has done and continues to do in my life. And I'm going to be showing records I've shown before, and because you want to know. And this has been shown a million times, but this is a record that creates such a landscape from the very beginning of the record, which I'll explain. It's like I come from a family of 5 kids. My parents stayed together till I was 14, but I was the middle kid, and the middle kid tends to disappear in the sibling strip. And so as much as I was there in the family, I felt alone. I felt detached in many ways. I was depressed a lot. And this music, right away, which you can't really hear, we're in another land right away, and it's a mystical. Right away, I'm seeing not completely cloudy skies, but skies that are full of clouds that are stormy but not stormy. There's sunlight that peeks through at different places. It's windy at this time. It's kind of in the fall, you know what I'm saying? The leaves are coming off the trees. It's kind of cold, and yet at the same time it's very inviting and beckoning. It's like this lost land that I've discovered. That's what I got and always get from this album. It's a place of my own, you know what I mean? And it's not the kind of record that you necessarily listen to with people, although when I was younger I had a couple of really close friends who loved this music too, and we did, when we were younger, we would get mighty stoned and play this and just get lost, you know, and would almost feel like we could feel each other's thoughts and feelings, although we couldn't, but that's what it seemed like, you know what I'm saying? So this is a perfect example to start with. I'm going to show just a few more that go back in my life, because to this day, music creates absolutely a landscape, and I think if you listen to the way I talk about music, it's always there about what music is does for my imagination, or how it just strikes me. I definitely like music that, even though it creates a particular picture, it leaves a lot to the imagination. That's what I like. So I have to show this one as well, Magician's Hat, because this is a whole nother feeling, but it's also just as intense. The back cover captures it. This music sounds like a wonderful, dewy, sunny, early morning, and there's a lot of nature around, and the dew is wet on the grass, and this picture is perfect. That's what most of this music sounds like to me, and the place that it takes me inside. It's a very nice place. This is music to live by, even though I don't sound anything like this. Bo Hanson's music has a very direct inspiration on how I approach the way I've made a lot of music in the past, is just trying to create a sound that makes the living space better. I hope this is answering this is answering the question. Yeah, this is another one. So the other feeling that this one gives me is it's uplifting, it's warm. I can feel it even without hearing it, even as I listen to this other record, which is a whole nother feeling. I can immediately hook into this just thinking about it, and the feeling and the landscape. Okay, a couple more. Another band that really bums me out, there's that particular song. It's always the way it is, damn it, with records you love. I haven't seen any copies to buy in a while, although mine is generally in really good shape. Would be cool to have another. Faust from Germany, or the German-based band Faust, are another group that immediately grabbed my attention and imagination when I heard them. And the one that I heard their very first album first, but the one that I got familiar with was Faust So Far. And Faust tapes I pulled out both because these both create a landscape. This one, it's going to be harder to put into words, so that's why I'm going to show this one, because both of these records are very, I guess in a word, psychedelic, or fanciful, avant-garde, very so Faust, again, like good Genesis and other good music, this one is like going through different rooms in a large house, and then at different times finding yourself outside. Those times that you're outside, it's like the landscape is foggy. It's like you really can't see much of where you're at, but it's not frightening. That's the other thing that I always dug about this music, is even the weird stuff that I think would scare some people was always more like, wow, how far are we going? You know what I'm saying? Which reminds me of another record I meant to pull, and I gotta pull it because I know it. It's just so important to me. I know exactly where it is. Talk about landscapes. So Faust, also, it's like their music is a journey, and you encounter many different areas of reality with this music. All of it mind expanding. I use the word frightening because I do know that that's something that is fairly common to some people, you know, to experience with music like this, that it's kind of scary to them. But what quickly happened for me and experiences stuff, especially with psychedelics, was to, you know, the fear was like, well, let me understand this. And as I understood where the fear was coming from, it was more like, what more is there to understand? Or it's like, well, I like where we're going, you know, so let's just keep going. It's not scary. And I think I'm gonna move on, because that's the best I can do with trying to explain the landscape that Faust and this kind of music creates. This is some of the best examples that I want to, because again of the history. For me as a listener, I have a lot of listening experiences with this music, you know, and literally, you know, it's like the world that I live in has changed as a result, permanently, really. Another one that I'm adding, and I'll do this one last, is Herbie Hancock, Crossings. This album, again, is just a phenomenon for me. Just a phenomenal album. What Herbie Hancock with his band coupled with Patrick Gleason and his synthesizers, and Hancock's interest in them, it's like the album, the side with two songs, Quasar and Crossings, I believe. This is fantastic. It's not that it takes you into space, but it does. It's more like it gives you it sets you up to have a spatial perspective on yourself, your immediate surroundings, the world. It's like the head almost kind of goes like boom, and you just have an expanded understanding and feeling. It's like you rise up and you can just see out and over everything. It's like you're in space, but you're not, because I guess you're in space, but you're not in a spacesuit. It feels like a natural sort of. This music is phenomenal. Okay, it creates, and the feeling, are you certainly catching it a little bit? Because the feeling is one of, at the base, I guess, empowerment, a feeling of absorbing a great amount of information and knowledge while you're listening to this music and feeling this feeling. It's like you're downloading a direct experience that is heightening. You know, and as I'm sitting here listening to this, you know, this could on one in one sense, all that I'm saying can sound just like a bunch of hyped up grandiosity. And if one chooses to perceive my words that way, you can. That I'm trying to explain the landscape and the experience this music has given me. And friends, we've shared it. A friend of mine, Gary Beck, he's like a family member. I remember one time we were still like maybe 19, 20 years old, you know, at my mom's house, smoked a little bit of weed. I've told this story before. Closed the windows, I mean, not the windows, but the curtains, and it was pitch black, put this on, and then we were like, it's like we both were in a rocket ship, you know, and it was just such a cool experience to have it with my friend Gary. So that's a personal aspect of this landscape music that we're talking about. I want to share another record, and the last one that I'll share here, because I could probably all of my favorite records. If you asked me what is the feeling and is there a landscape, I could tell you. So I could do a series of this for the duration. But Mythos, German space rock, krautrock, absolute monster classic album. This one, they have 4 or 5 albums. This is the one. This one is like stepping back in time and into the future at the same time. but the sense of being in the past or something ancient, when listening to the music, especially as it unfolds, like you're a geologist on an archive. You're searching archive. You're on a dig. You're on an archaeological dig, and as opposed to just finding a room in a temple, you actually find yourself stepping back into the time itself. That's the landscape that this album sets up. Very psychedelic. Very, very psychedelic. Um, Kind of euphoric. Not so much like you're going back to the Garden of Eden. No, no, no. But like a mythical. The name of the band is perfect. Mythos. It's like we're in a mythical place. It's like you're in a mythical place. So, this record, I always relate to another musical friend of mine who I don't speak much to these days. He lives in Philadelphia. I Facebook with his wife. He won't get on. He threatened to get on here and make videos for a minute. And Jeff, Record Man, knows him too. Wes Van Ness. Wes is a person who early on that I met besides the Reese brothers, who turned me on to space rock and some of the deep prog that I would have probably taken years to find out about. He had the records. Several years ago, probably a decade or so ago, he had to sell almost his entire collection to raise his family in a pickle. I know he wouldn't mind me sharing that because it was hard on him, but he had like Big Star 1000. Where you been, man? I know it's. Remember, maybe I should check and see if you've done in the video. Usually I get an update, but like the original Cybotron records and Maximo von Braun records. Wes was buying them directly from Australia and these people, and so he's someone who figures largely into helping to expand my awareness of what's out there musically. He introduced me to Whitehouse, and I found out about Throbbing Gristle about the same time that I met Wes, and we both found out about industrial music, and he just went for it. I mean, deep. So being friends and, again, being all about self-discovery, I went headlong into industrial too. Learned a lot about myself and the quote-unquote dark side and the direct, the connection. I'm going on. Quentin, you're a great guy. Congratulations.